I wonder if some of you were curious if you would ever hear that again. I was a little curious if we'd ever hear it again.
Oh, I didn't doubt that we would not ever would hear. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I know Mel was like, she's like, oh, you're probably done. I'm like, no, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet.
You can't stop at $7.99.
No, right. So we're going to do one more.
So this is it.
No, definitely not. Welcome back, guys. It's been 5 weeks. 5 or 6 weeks, I think, since we put up an episode.
That sounds about right. You know where my brain is, so I'm going to say, okay.
Yeah, sure. 5 or 6 weeks since we put up episode 799. So those of you that didn't know, we did go dark for an extended amount of time for the first time in the history of the 15 odd years we've done of Outside the Cinema. Had never gone a week without having something put up on the feed. Yeah. So they finally got us. All it took was me almost dying. Essentially,
we always figured
to
that's
us.
what it would take.
Yeah, or one of us. Yeah. So like one of us actually.
Well, yeah,
that's probably more on there, but yeah, I had a very significant health thing. That is what took us off the air. I'll get into it. This is not really like a real. I mean, it's a real episode in terms of like we're recording it and we're putting it out, but it's not a real episode. It's like it'll go up on the feed as like 799.5, and then next week we'll get back into the swing of things. But I kind of felt like it would be easier for Chris and I to kind of just do a quick kind of like catch up thing here, where I kind of tell everyone what went on with me and why we were off the air for as long as we were. Because I got a ton of people when I posted about it on Instagram and Facebook, but I know our listenership, and I know there's probably a lot of people that didn't see it. So I felt it would be right to kind of give everyone a heads up. We'll talk about some other stuff, maybe just a few things maybe we've watched, because I watched a lot of TV while I was laid up. I didn't watch a lot of movies though. I'm gonna be honest. I kind of was not interested.
Yeah.
in watching movies when I was knocked down.
When you don't have to.
Right, yeah, it's weird.
You gravitate to other stuff because you're like, I can pick. It's not pick. Yeah,
so yes, it's Outside the Cinema. I'm Bill. That's Chris. Welcome back. And it's a true welcome back, since it's been an extended time since we put something out. But yeah, so we were off the air for the first time in the history of the show. I got very sick. So all right. So I'll just go. Should I just go through it?
Might as well. Whatever you're comfortable with sharing, knock it out.
Oh, I'll share.
I mean, knock yourself out. Knock it out of the park. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I got up and I got dressed today. I'm happy.
Whatever works. Okay, so here's what happened. So back in the beginning or mid-June, I woke up really early on a Friday morning. Like we're talking like 4 a.m. I am in cold sweats, but I'm hot as hell. I've got that classic flu. Like my stomach is turned over. I am shitting everywhere. So I wake up and I'm like, damn, I must have caught a flu or something, because I just feel like garbage. So the next morning, I basically am just like feeling like crap. And I'm like, I tell Mel, I go, listen, I'm not feeling good. I'm taking a day, which I very rarely do. Like anyone that knows me knows that I don't stop. I coach like 3 baseball teams. I'm out. I have film shoots everywhere, and like I've got all kinds of stuff going on. And like I don't stop. Yeah. Like I'm not a person that stops. So for me to be like, I need to take a day. She was like, oh, okay, yeah, you're not. So through that day, hot sweats, cold sweats, asleep for an hour, awake, wired, minor fever, nothing too bad, like just under 100, but just feeling like complete garbage.
Okay.
That lasts through Friday. Saturday hits. I have a big baseball thing I'm supposed to do. We were doing a big end of year celebration. Couldn't go. Stomach was all messed up. Couldn't do it. Couldn't get off the couch. So Mel says to me, she goes, hey, if you're still feeling like this tomorrow, we're going to go to urgent care. So Sunday comes along. This is Father's Day.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And if anyone now knows the history of me and Father's Day, this happened this year in 2023. 2022, Mel's uncle passed away in the morning of Father's Day, and her cousin was staying with us, so it was like a very, so that was that Father's Day. The year before, I had a kidney stone. Year before that, Mel was stranded in. Where was she stranded? She was stranded for work somewhere and didn't get home for Father's Day. So like, it's not a holiday I will be celebrating at any point in the future.
Right.
We're just gonna stay there. So I'm still feeling like crap. I got a low grade fever. She's like, all right, we're going to go to urgent care. So we go to urgent care. And listen, I love the idea of urgent care until you get there and they charge you $300 to do nothing. Yeah. So I gave them all my symptoms. They gave me a flu test. They go, yeah, it sounds like you probably have some type of gastrovirus. I'm like, all right, that makes sense. I'm like having stomach pain. I'm going to the bathroom nonstop.
Yeah, you're shitting yourself. It's probably your intestines.
Yeah, I'm like, something's wrong.
Genius.
So gastrovirus, that sounds right. I go, okay, cool. What are you going to give me for it? And they're like, nothing. I'm like, no antibiotics? Or like, they're like, no, these things usually pass within a couple days. If you're still not feeling good in a couple days, call your primary.
Yeah.
They're like, take some Imodium to stop the war zone in your backside. And you should be feeling better in a couple days. And I'm like, great. Thanks for nothing. Because literally it was nothing.
Yeah. Oh, you said you walked in and said, this hurts. And they looked at you and went, yeah, I bet it does.
Yeah.
See you later.
Essentially, they're like, here's your $200 bill. See ya. So I get home, still feeling like crap. I get up Monday morning, still feel like junk, but I feel a little better. Like I'm like still sick and I'm on the couch, but like I feel a little better.
Yeah.
So Travis's baseball team, his town baseball team, was in the playoffs at this point. So I hadn't missed any games or anything, but they had a playoff game on Monday night.
Okay.
And it's an elimination game. So like, and as the coach, like, I'm like, well, I got to do whatever I can to be there. So I take some Advil. I feel a little bit better. I still don't feel great, but I managed to pry myself off the couch and somehow go down and coach this baseball game. In hindsight, literally the most insane thing, like the most insane thing when the way things went. So I get down there and everyone's like, "Oh man, you don't look good." I'm like, I ain't feeling great. They're like, "Oh, you look like gaunt." I'm like, "Oh, I haven't had anything solid to eat."
Yeah.
I hadn't eaten anything.
Yeah.
I had, I was drinking Gatorade and I was getting watered down, but like I couldn't eat any solids because my stomach was so messed up. And a couple bags of like fruit snacks to get something into the system. And so I coached this game and I must have looked like, I can't imagine what I looked like. My stomach was all swollen and like it just was not somehow. But somehow, and we get there and the kids go down. They Travis's team drops. Travis was pitching and he had a bad game. He's a pretty good pitcher, but he had a bad game. Gave up a bunch of runs in the first couple innings. So they're down like 8-0 or something. And so I'm like, all right, great. Right, they're going to get eliminated tonight.
And I can just go home. Just relax a little bit.
I can go home. I can rest and I can sleep and I can get my shit right. No, they came back.
Oh, good for them, but I'm sorry.
They did. They came back and won. They won 18-9 or something.
Jesus Christ.
Crazy. Like the other team completely fell apart.
Wow.
So that means now they won that game. That means they have to play Tuesday night, the next night.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, all right, let's go home and get some sleep, take some Tylenol PM. I wake up in the morning on Tuesday, and I'm actually feeling better. I don't feel great, but I feel better. So the morning's going on. It's real early. I hear the dog making some sounds. This like, if you're here for movie talk this week, just move on because we'll probably talk a little bit of stuff, but like this is just a slice of life for me for the last couple months. The dog's making these weird sounds, and he's shitting on the carpet out on the floor upstairs. Yeah. And so I nudge Mel and I go, "I'm really, really sorry." I'm like, the dog's shitting on the floor. Can you take care of that? And she's like, "Yeah, I'll take care of it." And God bless Mel. She took amazing care of me through this whole thing. Without her, I can't imagine how I would have got through it without her. So I fall back to sleep. I wake up at like 7 or whatever, and she's like, I got to take the dog to the emergency room. I'm like, what? I'm like, what's wrong with the dog? She's like, he's bleeding in his stool like crazy.
Oh.
So I'm like, okay. She's like, are you okay to be on your own for a few hours? Because I think it was Travis's second to last day of school.
Okay.
His last day of school. Okay, so yeah, he had a baseball game on Tuesday. His last day of school was on Wednesday. So I'm like, yeah, do whatever you got to do. Take care of the dog. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine. I'll just be on the couch here. I'm like, I'm trying to rest up because we got the game tonight. Blah. So she finds an emergency room that can take the dog and not, take the dog right away. So she ended up having to go to like fucking Needham or something, which is not super close. So Bark's all right. They're not sure. He had some type of little virus or something. They gave him some antibiotics and he was pooping everywhere. I think he might have picked up maybe some of the germs or some of the bacteria from me. Somewhere.
Yeah, I wonder if that's transferable. Took a sip. Well, lot of poop viruses.
Well, as we get into the story, there's as we get further into this story, there's a number of things that just kind of pile onto it. But like maybe he took a drink out of the toilet or something, and like who knows. But either way, he's fine. He's fine now. Mel gets home like around like lunchtime. She's like, "How you feeling?" I'm like, I don't feel great. I'm like, but I think better than I was. And I don't know if I actually was better.
Okay.
Or I was just talking myself into thinking I was better.
I mean, even a little bit of relief feels like you're back to normal, wouldn't it?
Right. Yeah. Right. And so she's like, let me make you some scrambled eggs, try to get some food in your system. Cause again, like I hadn't really had any solid food, any substantial amount. So I managed like literally to choke down a couple of, scrambled eggs. I feel like I have to go to the bathroom, which was not something new. But this felt far more urgent. And I get upstairs to go to the bathroom, and it literally felt like someone took their hands, Chris, like this. And like if this is my stomach, they just went. And everything was just like instant pain straight through. Like everything hurt so bad.
Let me ask you a question. And then, this could be too much information. Were you pushing at the time? Or was it just you sat down honestly, and then it was like, crap.
I sat down, my bowels started to move, and everything went.
So you were your body was along for the ride. You had no active role in this except sitting down. Okay.
No. But it was like everything had been painful, but this was pain severe pain. So I like crumpled to the floor in the bathroom and needed a couple minutes to like right myself. The pain started to subside a tiny bit, but it didn't go away this time. So I managed to clean myself up because I'm not an animal. So clean myself up, walk myself down the stairs, and Mel's at the bottom of the stairs, and she just looks at me, and I go, "We need to go to the emergency room. Something is very wrong." And she's like, "Okay." She's like, what should we do with Travis? She's like, I don't want to bring him to the emergency room. I call my mom, have her come up. She'll take him to the baseball game. And she's like, all right, we'll call my mom. She's like, all right, well, I'll be right there. And Travis is old enough now, obviously. He can be by himself for like a couple hours if he needs to be. It's not like a big deal. So we tell him, we go, hey, listen, we're going to go to the hospital, figure out what the hell's wrong with me. Grammy will be here. Have her take you to a baseball game. Have her get you dinner. We'll figure it out. So at this point, I just think I'm going to the emergency room to get checked out.
Right.
Like give me something to relieve the pain. Yeah. Here's something, whatever, because I'm still thinking it's a gastrovirus of some sort. Right. Yeah. So we get in there, we get to the hospital, and I'm like doubled over in pain. And the lady's like, she's like, are you okay? Do you need something right now? Do you need me to get you a wheelchair? I'm like, no, I'm okay. I'm like, they do the check-in process. I go sit down, and Mel comes in and waits, and they take me to the triage area where you go through all the symptoms with the lady, and she's like, all right, head into the triage area there. We're going to draw some blood, and so they have a person talk to me, and they're like, all right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a chest x-ray because I'd had some kind of tightness up here, so I didn't know what that was. But just what it ended up being really like just my muscles, it just like everything had just contracted on itself. Yeah. So they wanted to take a chest x-ray, and they're like, we're going to do a CAT scan of your gut,
Good thing you're not allergic to cats.
So I know, right? Or radiation.
Well, we all are a little bit. I mean, come on.
So they take some blood. They set me up. They're like, all right, so like, go back out into the waiting area. The X-ray people will come get you, and the CAT scan people will come get you. So,
because I'm going to try and insert a little bit of humor here and there. I went for an eye exam, and I found a new phrase instead of "not that I'm aware of," which is when they ask you, do you have any allergies? Is there any history of anything in your family?
Right.
My new favorite thing to say is, and I don't know where this came from, I said, not yet. Is there any history of glaucoma in your family? Not yet.
That's kind of my thing too, whereas the allergies, they're like, oh, my response is usually, haven't found one.
We'll find out, won't we?
Haven't found one.
I don't like that. So, because I was thinking, what I say to him is like, okay, we're going to take your blood. And I ask, when do I get that back? And they're like, what?
Yeah, there's multiple points of this story where I definitely asked the lady taking my blood. I'm like, you sure I still have some? Like, all right. So they bring me in to get the X-ray. They bring me in to get the CAT scan. The whole thing, we've been waiting probably about 3.5 hours or so. About maybe a half hour after I get the CAT scan. And I was just having a really hard time getting comfortable because everything hurt so bad. So emergency room nurse comes out. She's like, all right, we got you a bed. Come on in. They lay me down. They hook me up to an IV. They go through all the stuff. Where's the pain? What type is this? What's that? All right, we're reviewing your stuff right now. How much pain are you in on a scale of 1 to 10? And I'm like, well, I passed a kidney stone a couple of years ago, and this hurts just as bad. And she goes, okay.
Yeah, no,
let's get you some pain.
That's meds. Like the baseline for this is all the pain I can stand.
It's either if you're a woman, have you had a baby?
Or a kidney stone.
And does it hurt more than that?
Or a kidney stone.
Yeah, kidney stone in general, I think, is like the barometer.
I remember reading a report where they asked women who have had multiple children and kidney stones, and they're like, yeah, kidney stones suck.
Oh, when I had mine, I had the doctor was a woman, and she came in and she goes, listen, she goes, I've had it. She's like, you got a kidney stone. She's like, just so you know, it's the most painful thing. She's like, women put it on the level of childbirth.
It's the only pain. Like, I've broken my knee in 3 places. I've been in car accidents. It's the only time that I was in so much pain I threw up.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Dropped to my knees like God smacked me in the back of the head. Like it was just like, oh my God.
Yeah. This was similar, but the pain was it felt different.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Yeah. Because like the kidney stone one it would come in waves, and then it would kind of like go back. This was constant. So I can't say that it hurt more, but like at that point I was in
if it's more consistent,
pain.
then you absolutely do hurt more because you're hurting chronologically more, if that makes sense.
Right. So she's like, all right, let's get you some pain meds. She's like, what's your number? I'm at like an 8.5 and 9. I'm like, this is some of the worst pain, if not the worst pain I've ever felt. So anyone that knows me knows I'm a drug-free guy. Like I don't drink, I don't smoke weed, I don't do any drugs. Like, an Advil or a Tylenol is as hard as I go. So Mel's sitting in the chair in the room with me, and she goes, all right, she's like, we're going to shoot you up. We're going to give you a shot of morphine. And like Mel just looks at me, gives that look, and I look at her, and I'm like, hey, I'm not like the straight edge guy that's like not going to take pain medicine if they're recommending pain medicine. If a doctor recommends it,
because that does mental damage to you as well. That kind of pain.
Oh, the pain for sure. So
and you're in a controlled area. It's all
absolutely
clinical.
And that's always been my mindset with being straight edge is if it's something that a doctor is giving you for an ailment, then yes, you should do it. If that's their recommendation, you should do it.
And get a second opinion, and then don't avoid things that could harm yourself.
Right. So Mel gives me the look. And she's like, oh, they're going to give this guy a shot of morphine. She's like, this should be like classic. So she's got the phone ready.
Give you like a 0.5 milliliters.
I don't remember. I don't know exactly. I think it might have been a one milliliter dose.
All right.
Actually, it might have been 2.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So she gives me this morphine shot. Me fully expecting to just be like completely knocked on my ass. Right. It does nothing.
So they went in nice and easy to start with.
Does nothing. didn't feel it. And she said, she's like, this is going to make you feel real weird. And I go, oh, is it?
Okay.
I go, it's not.
All right. Oh,
It's not.
I see.
It's not doing anything. And she goes, all right, well, let's give it a few minutes. She's like, it might take a few minutes to kick in.
It shouldn't.
10, 15 minutes.
Like
10, 15 minutes go by. I'm like, no,
intravenous
I'm in
drug use.
as much pain as I was.
Yeah, intravenous drug use is popular because it's fast.
Yeah, because it immediately goes into your blood system.
Like you die with the needle in your arm if you're not careful that fast.
Right.
A couple of minutes for morphine. Are you the doctor in the beginning of Saving Private Ryan?
She goes, all right, I guess we're going to have to think of something else then.
Get the mallet.
And I'm like, please. I go, just something. I'm like, I don't need it to go away. I'm like, I just need to like be able to relax so that I'm not so tensed up.
Yeah.
So they gave me something else. I don't remember what it was. That didn't work either. So we ended up getting Dilaudid.
What?
Which is another very heavy narcotic.
Okay. I hadn't heard of that one.
So, yeah. So they were hitting me with 4 milliliters of that. Huh. And that was the first one that like it helped. And, like,
okay.
And I felt it go from like the top of my head and like that kind of weird burn down your body, and then everything kind of just relaxed.
Almost like getting enveloped in warm molasses.
Sort of. Yeah, it's a weird feeling.
If you're not in pain, it sort of could feel like that.
Yeah, that's the thing though, is like when you're in that type of pain, the drug doesn't do what it does for like a drug addict. It's not the same thing.
No, it's just taking the edge off pretty much at some dose.
So it made me relax and made me feel a little bit more comfortable. I was able to like lay down flat and straight. I was like, all right, that's cool. Good. Doctor comes in a little while later. How you feeling? I'm like, well, I'm feeling a little better now thanks to the pain medication. But so like, what's going on? He goes, well, he's like, we got your CAT scan. He's like, you've got diverticulitis. And I'm like, okay, I know what that is. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I know what that is because Brock Lesnar had it.
Oh, okay. Hey, whatever reason you know is a good reason.
Almost ended his UFC career. I remember.
Imagine, yeah.
And they're like, and he goes, the real issue is that your colon's perforated.
Oh.
And we don't know why. But this can happen. So get comfortable because you're not going anywhere. We're gonna admit you. And we're going to start hitting you with some antibiotics, and we're going to figure out where to go from there.
Okay.
So I spend the next couple hours in the emergency room. I got there at like 1 o'clock, and now it's like about 10. Travis's team lost the baseball game. I monitored it on the phone through the app that we have. They lost 4-1 against the defending champions, so I know.
That's not bad. It's not 19-9, so...
Nope. So I tell Mel, I go, listen, I'm like, they needed to admit me, but they kept saying we don't have a bed right now. The place is full. We don't have anywhere for you to go. So you're just going to hang here until something opens up. So I tell Mel to go home. I go, there's no point. Right. I'm like, there's no point in you sitting here. Go home. Make sure the dog's all right. Make sure Travis is good.
Yeah. He's probably extremely worried now that he doesn't have to think about the game anymore.
Right. Yeah. So she goes home, and I'm just kind of watching the TV that they have there or whatever, and they're checking on
awful hospital TV.
The doctor, and then the emergency room was even worse.
Oh yeah,
because it was only like half the channels that the rest of the hospital had. So the doctor comes back in. He's like, we're looking for a spot for you. Hopefully it'll be soon. They ended up getting me a spot, but like the guy, it was real weird, and I'm still not entirely sure that how like truthful they were with me, because they come in and they're like, all right, listen, all right, we got you a bed. It's in the ICU. You don't technically have to be there. And I'm like, what's that technically part? So like, don't move me there.
I'm surprised you didn't say, look, my entire ass is torn to pieces. Don't fucking lie to me. Do I need to be there?
Well, at that point,
fucking tell me.
At that point, I had so much of the Dilaudid in me. I was just like, I don't know, whatever. I guess they're moving me to ICU, but I guess I don't have to be there.
It's like when I had the kidney stone and they had to send me for an ultrasound because the pain, they said, it's not usually how people describe it. So we got to make sure there's no testicular torsion going on in there or anything. So they shot me up with a bunch of the stuff. And I swear to God, the woman running the sonogram, she has to run the thing over the things. And I am so private and so anxiety ridden But with that medicine in me, I didn't care at all.
Good.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be.
It was really weird. So it's like, I know how you are, where you're like, whatever you say, guy, you're the one that's paying too much money for your education.
My insurance ain't going to cover this. I don't care.
Fix me before you find out.
So they admit me to the ICU. I was there for 2 days.
Right.
In the
I remember
ICU.
you telling me that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really remember a lot of it.
I could.
Because they were definitely hitting me with a lot of, like, I was getting a shot of Dilaudid every 4 hours, and I want to say it was a pretty heavy dose of, like, I think 4 milligrams for those first couple days, because I was in, like, an extreme amount of pain.
Yeah. I could tell. I was very hesitant about how much to text you, because I could tell the responses I was getting from you. I'm like, those aren't his normal misspellings. So I'm pretty sure he's on
everything I was,
painkillers.
and also everything I was text to speech. I was text to speech.
Oh, okay, that makes sense too. Yeah, so and
I'm going to be honest. Like, I didn't want to even pick up my phone. I didn't want to return text messages.
Okay. So we're on the same page where I'm like, I shouldn't bother him, and you're like, I hope nobody bothers me. Cool.
Pretty much, yeah.
Cool.
Pretty much, and that's why I didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Mel told the people that had to know, because
right.
We knew as soon as people started to find out, I was going to start getting inundated with text messages. And believe me, I appreciate everyone's concern and thank you very much. But you're in that, like, I don't want to talk.
In the middle of the situation is a very difficult time.
Yeah, and people and not. I mean, this isn't a shot to anyone in particular, but like some people get very like miffed if like, oh well, he didn't fucking respond to me. I asked him how he was doing or whatever, and like he didn't even bother to fucking respond.
Yeah,
it's like because I'm almost fucking dead.
Yeah, but then like I've learned too. I used to, and in the next 2 weeks I'm going to again get real mad for dumb reasons because this has nothing to do with anyone else. This is just me personally. Recently, I found out what emotions are, and I've been experiencing them. And when I say emotions, I mean stuff like, not like anger, but like nice stuff. And it's really weird and off-putting. And
I know what you mean.
And when anything goes out of the ordinary, it can really mess with me. But one of my problems when I'm off medication is that I do get unreasonably angry if I think that I should have been responded to. Because, you were just talking to me, for instance, and now it's taking you 22 minutes to answer a simple yes or no question. What the fuck is wrong? That's the kind of stuff that I'm seeing professionals for.
Right.
But it can be like I had this habit of building things up in importance in my head before other people like would commit to it. Like, hey, we should just all, form a bowling league, for instance. Just go and we could do that as a family. And then like nobody's into it. And then I get upset because I've been researching it for 6 weeks already. And, it's stuff like that. And it's, yeah, especially if people are worried and they don't hear from you. That can be very, very scary. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Sure. So, the magic of the ICU, I got to experience my first catheter.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Dude, have you had one?
If I did, it was taken out before I woke up. I think I did, but I don't remember it.
I was awake when I had mine. When it was put in, when it was removed. The surgeon came in. So the surgeon comes in, this guy, Dr. Yahia, who was amazing. He's like, hey, okay, here's what's going on. He explains everything. And he goes, so the options are, he's like, there's surgery where we go in, we remove a piece of your colon, and then we will give you a colostomy bag for 8 weeks. And then you'll have to come back in 8 weeks and have a second surgery to reattach your colon and remove the bag. And I'm like, well, that sounds terrible.
Right. I figured your response would be awesome. So what is the thing we're doing then?
And he goes, but the other option is, he's like, you're young enough. He's like, you're in good health for the most part, with the exception of this. He's like, I think that we can treat this with antibiotics, resting your colon, and going through it that way and hopefully reduce all of the inflammation. He's like, the biggest thing is the piece of your colon has got to get patched up.
Right. I was going to ask you
perforation
if it's torn. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, that's the biggest thing. He's like, and that's why you're staying here and not going home. He's like, because you've definitely had leakage in there, and leakage is a weird word.
It is. It's terrifying in this context.
Yes. But he's like, basically he's like, no, he's like, or you're taking nothing orally. He's like, you're not drinking anything. You're not eating anything. He's like, we're putting you on a complete do not eat diet. He's like, we'll feed you through the IVs. He's like, it's gonna suck.
Yeah.
He's like, but he's like, this is what we would have to do to avoid the surgery. So what do you think? I go, well, I'm like, it's June 20th or whatever it is. I'm like, the summer's just starting. My kid just got out of school today or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm supposed to go to the Caribbean at the end of August. I'm like, I can't go to the Caribbean if I have a fucking bag of shit hanging off my leg. Like, and he's like,
oh,
right.
So what you're saying is Reverend Scott's not going with you. Oh,
no,
finally got one on him there.
Bag of shit. So I go, yeah. I'm like, I would really like to do whatever we can do to avoid surgery.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're the surgeon.
Right.
And you're the guy that's going to do the surgery. If you're thinking that this is the option, the better option, then I'm on board with
I always felt like they have to approach it like, okay, I know what's best because this is my fucking career.
Right.
But I don't know what kind of idiot anti-vax flat earth creationist nutbag is on the other side of this door. So I'm going to couch it with these two options. You can do either. I don't care.
Well, and it's funny too, because like there's that idea of like hospitals and stuff that will just push you into a surgery because it's better for them financially.
Yeah.
Because then you make more money on the surgery. It's that simple. But like the fact that the surgeon didn't think that the surgery was the best option right out of the gate, I was like, okay, because I had another doctor come in a few hours after that and walks in and she's like, what's the deal? So I heard you refused the surgery. And I'm like, I didn't refuse the surgery. I go, I chose the other option.
Right.
And it was kind of like, oh, well, the surgery is going to be blah, 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 blah.
And who was that person?
I had two doctors I was dealing with. One was the surgeon and one was like the general like doctor person.
Okay.
She was very nice too after the, like it was fine.
Okay.
But it was like kind of just weird. There's like, oh, you refused the surgery. I go, I didn't refuse any surgery.
That's a weird way to phrase it.
Yeah. And it was kind of like, this is what Dr. Yahia thought. I'm like, if he's the surgeon, and again, like I just said, I'm like, and he thinks that's the best plan.
Yeah.
That's the plan I'm going with.
Yeah. When I had my hernia, my doctor at the time, he said, all right, so obviously you know what needs to be done. I'm like, yeah. He said, all right, you're going to see Dr. I forget his name. He said, he's the one that did my hernia. I'm like, say no more. If he did yours, that's fine. Where is he?
Right. So needless to say, to kind of round this all together, I was in the hospital for 16 days.
Wow.
16 days I was in the hospital. I had no solid food at all for 10 of it.
Wow.
So that's why if you're, and I'll put the video up of this probably on our YouTube page too. That's why if you're looking at me now, I am, there's much less of me than there was 5-6 weeks ago. I dropped 30 pounds while I was in the hospital. Which is, I guess, the one bright lining out of this, because I definitely needed to lose probably about 20. So dropping the extra 10 puts me back into normal dad bod territory. So, I was there for 16 days. I didn't eat anything for 10 of it. I was on liquids only for a couple of it. And then they moved me to softs where I was able to eat like Jell-O and pudding and a little bit of ice cream. And then the last day and a half, they let me have some solids to basically just make sure that I could eat solids before they sent me home.
They don't want to send you home and have you rip yourself in half by accident,
or just would send me home and me not be able to eat.
Yeah, that's an awful thing.
Because I'm not on the IVs, because I was on a constant IV of those 16 days.
I've always been curious about
days.
this. If that's how you were eating, does your stomach grumble? Do you get that hungry pang?
No, I had no.
Really?
No appetite whatsoever.
Okay.
while I was at the hospital until maybe the last day, and that was more so just because I knew that I had to eat for them to let me go home.
Okay. I always wondered
nothing.
about that. You know, if you're getting all of your nutrition, does your body have to tell you, "Hey, remember to eat"?
Yeah, well, I think it's a combination of the gas too. Like the hunger pangs are kind of like gas.
Yeah. Isn't it like acid buildup? Like it kind of
partially. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, partially. But they had me on all kinds. I was on all kinds of antibiotics. Oh, okay. So I skipped over a part of it. The most important, but maybe not the most important. But so I was in the ICU for the first 2 days, and then they moved me to the room I was in for the rest of it after those 2 days. So I think the first or second day I'm in the regular room, Mel's hanging out, and the doctor the nurse comes in. She's like, we got the results back from your fecal test or whatever. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, yeah, you tested positive for Campylobacter jejun or something like that. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what that is. She's like, it's food poisoning. I go, how do I have food poisoning? I haven't eaten in like 6 days. I did. I got
how?
So I had food poisoning on top. So here's so there was no way for them to prove it. But here's the theory that I came up with, and the nurses and the doctor also seem to think that they're like, we can't say for sure, but there's a possibility.
Okay.
I got food poisoning on that Thursday night before I first started feeling bad. I got a chicken sandwich from a place. And
I told you, no gas station sandwiches.
No, it was a place. It was a nice. I'm not going to use their name. I don't want to run them through the mud. But I got a chicken sandwich from a place, and then I immediately the next morning was sick. So I think that was the start of it.
Okay.
So when I had my colonoscopy last year, I had spots of diverticuli, which is the little pouches that can form diverticulitis.
Yeah.
So, but at that time, last September, nothing was inflamed. There was no issues. They were just like, just know that they're there.
Right.
So I think the food poisoning and the bacteria created by the food poisoning basically took everything and put it into like turbo drive, and then created all these other issues with the diverticuli, which then went into the diverticulitis.
That is
and
interesting.
then those different 2 or 3 different types of bacteria burned a hole in my colon.
Okay.
And that's why everything got so bad so quickly.
Wow.
So I got the triple whammy. I got the food poisoning, the diverticulitis, and the perforated colon all at the same time.
I mean, I guess all at the same time is good. In the long run, you got it all out of the way. I don't know. It's not something you need to get out of the way. It's not.
Well,
like
diverticulitis it's not something that goes away. The only way to get rid of it is you have to have the surgery to remove the piece of your colon that's infected.
And it's only just it's in spots. I mean, obviously it can spread, but it's not like a couple here, a couple there. It's concentrated in areas.
I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I honestly don't know. Usually, it's little pockets. It's just basically pockets in your colon where sediment from food, or like, which is why they're like, I can't eat corn anymore. They don't want they don't recommend eating nuts and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Anything that you can't digest, that stuff can get lodged in there, become inflamed and infected.
Oh, so this is the best thing for you because now you have a actual medical reason to not eat lettuce.
Right. But I'm supposed to eat a whole bunch of other vegetables.
Right. Other vegetables are good though.
Some of them, I guess. So after the 16 days, they sent me home. It took me I'd say a week after being home for a week to kind of start feeling semi-normal. And I would say that I haven't really, I still have a lot of pain like down in here.
Okay.
I should say a lot, but I still have like some pain down in here because they said like when your colon gets inflamed, they're like, it takes weeks, if not months for it to like really rest itself.
Oh, wow.
So I'm on a super strict diet of right now it's low fiber, low residue. So it's all stuff that I can only eat stuff that's low in fiber and stuff that is going to, pass through my system easily.
Okay. I'll cancel your yearly subscription to Colon Blow then.
Yeah. I actually had that. Was a colon broom, they call it.
Oh, no, really?
A while ago. Well, this is a while ago because there's so much talk about gut health and stuff.
That's true.
And how so basically what will end up happening is in another week or two, when the majority of the pain is pretty much essentially gone, they want me to switch to a high fiber diet.
Oh, okay.
And then start to introduce foods kind of back into my diet to see what because everybody's different that has diverticulitis.
Oh, okay.
Like there isn't like a book that's like, you get this disease, this is the stuff you can't eat.
Right.
But like
right.
what sucks for me is anyone that knows me knows I don't have a very good diet. I love fried food. I love burgers. I love pizza. I love like all the stuff. Like, I love ice cream.
On the plus side, though, ice cream, pizza, if you don't eat the crust, that fried food slides right through you.
For the most part, yeah. No, honestly, and for the most part, as long as like the whole idea is that like you just do everything in moderation.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have like a fried clam dinner 5 nights a week.
Right.
Like
just 3.
So at this point, I'm getting to that point where like right now I'm eating a lot of like light pastas, a lot of chicken, a lot of white rice.
Oh, yeah.
I have to stay away from like any like whole grains or like any of that stuff that can leave any type of sediment in there that is like pretty much like stay away from that for a while.
Makes sense.
So, but yeah, they sent me home with a couple different antibiotics, ran through those. Now it's just like a Tylenol every now and then and a Gas X if I start to feel a little bit off.
Yeah.
But this is the last couple of days is like I feel like myself again.
Oh, that's
like
good.
I have more energy because that first week, even I've been home now 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
So like that whole first week, like the first couple of days, I actually got a little worried when I got home because I expected my appetite to come back and it didn't.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And what that was the antibiotics. The antibiotics essentially like cut my appetite down to like.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So once my antibiotic run was done, which was I think I had 7 or 8 days worth when I got home, then my diet was, I was able to actually want to eat a little bit, but I'm still not eating a whole lot because I mean, like I went 2 weeks with putting nothing into my stomach. So I definitely don't have, my stomach shrunk.
Yeah.
I had to have.
Yeah. Yeah. That can, I've noticed with myself, I eat way less than I used to.
Yeah, I mean, and it's better too. And they even like the nurses and the doctors said they're like, you're better off eating like just a few smaller meals.
Yep.
As opposed to like gourd. And and here's the thing is like, I don't really, I mean, despite being like at the point, like I was like 220 pounds, but like, I didn't think that I really ate all that much. I just ate all the wrong things.
Right. That makes sense.
And I would snack. Snacking was my killer.
Yeah.
Like pint of Ben and Jerry's ice cream, like 2 nights a week. And then like a candy bar before bed or just like sitting and just munching. And like I think that's the thing that was worse for me. I mean, like I can have like a marinated chicken breast and some white rice and be like fine.
Yeah.
But then it was like the bag of chips and the like, the like pretzel, the peanut butter dipped chocolate pretzels.
Yeah. Chocolate pretzels are definitely a weakness that I have.
They're good, man.
Yeah.
They're good. So, but yeah, I'm back on my feet now. I'm feeling pretty good. I've got most of my energy back. I'm 30 pounds lighter and, feeling pretty good.
Good.
Hopefully it sticks. But that's why we were gone for 5 weeks. And, I apologize because I've always been the guy that was like, we're not missing shows. I mean, we had babies, we had back surgeries, we had moves.
Yep. This is different.
This was, and there was no way. And God bless Scott. Like we give Scott a lot of shit, but like he was like trying to figure out a way to like post it. He's like, well, is there a way we can post something else? He's like, I could record something. He's like, I'm sure Chris would record something.
I had suggested something and you were like, no, that's passwords and shit. And I'm like, okay, he's in no mood to talk about this. So I'm like,
and that was the thing too. And I really appreciate, appreciate that stuff for you wanted, well, what can I do?
Yeah.
Like Scott and like, even and Joe was like, well, what's going on? And I'm just like, listen, everything's on my computer at home. I'm like, I cannot imagine a way that I would be able to even get Chris into the system and remember all of the right passwords and have the settings be what they need to be.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, like it's all saved, and I'm like, I don't know what the passwords are. I'm like, I don't even know what they are.
Yeah, I've started going with the generate hexadecimal code thing, and Chrome saves it, and I'm like, fuck it, I don't care. Go ahead.
Right.
It's harder.
Then you'll get a random update somewhere down the road.
Yeah.
And it'll wipe out everything.
I just won't update either the iPad or the phone or the computer at work because they asked me at work what I preferred, and I'm like, please get me a Mac. So my desktop at home is connected to the one at work. Like everything's connected. So yeah, hopefully Chrome doesn't fuck up.
Right, exactly.
That's a lot of I forgot my password emails.
Yeah, so that's why we didn't try it. It didn't make sense to just like at this point, 15 years in, to just drop something for the sake of dropping it. I mean, we got nothing to prove to anybody, and I know our hardcore listeners, like almost every single one. Actually, I can't even say almost every single person that I heard from was just like, "Hey, do what you got to do to get better. We'll be here." So I definitely want to apologize to our Patreon followers though, because I haven't been able to get any Patreon content out either. So we're gonna get there. I promise. Your money is gonna be it's gonna be well spent in terms of keeping us on the air, and we'll make sure that we give you plenty of content as soon as everything gets back to where it needs to get to.
Yeah.
So now the real question that I'm sure everybody has for me.
Yeah.
What did I watch while I was in the hospital?
That is an important question.
I had my iPad with me, don't get me wrong. So I was logged into everything. So I had access to everything except for my Plex server. I had, all my apps. Oh. But I will tell you that I didn't watch much of anything because I essentially settled into Comedy Central almost every single day. And I would do 2 hours of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yep.
4 hours of Parks and Rec.
Okay.
And then, depending on which day it was, 4 hours of either The Office or Seinfeld.
Okay.
Almost exclusively. And I watched wrestling because I was able to watch
good.
AEW and Monday Night Raw. I was supposed to go to Toronto the first weekend that I ended up being in the hospital. They were having the big New Japan Pro Wrestling AEW joint show that they do. I had a hotel room and I had flight tickets and I was going by myself just because I fucking love wrestling.
Well,
I'm a nerd. And couldn't go. So had to eat the ticket price, I was able to get the money back in the hotel and able to get the money back or get a credit back at least for the flights.
Okay.
But so like
it's better than losing it.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I didn't. So like, I know like I'm so different now. And maybe let me ask you this too, because when we've been doing this show for a long time and you think back to when we kind of first started this show, we were like maniacs.
We were idiots.
With like, watching whatever we could, whenever we could. How many bad cult movies could we fit in?
Yes.
Like, oh, nobody's ever heard of this. Let's watch it.
Right.
I kind of don't care anymore.
No, there are people out there that are doing what we did 15 years ago, and they're doing it well. So
right.
I'm okay with covering whatever.
But not even so much covering it for the show, just in general. Like. I don't want to necessarily, when I have a couple hours, I don't want to necessarily sit down and put myself through 90 minutes of some just complete garbage.
Yeah.
That so for example, the last week and a half or so, or actually more so when I got home and I was still not feeling great. Travis is home from school for the summer because it's summer vacation, and he doesn't want to. Obviously, he doesn't want to fucking watch that crap either. So we're like trying to figure out what we can watch together.
Yeah.
And we started watching the Fast and the Furious series.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not gonna lie, I fucking love it.
Yeah. No, I can see that. At number 5.
We started at 5 because that was the first one The Rock was in.
Okay. All right.
So we started at 5. We've watched 5 through 8 or 9 now, and Hobbs and Shaw, and I will tell you, I prefer them to Transformers or any of those other big budget action ones because they know what they're doing in these movies at this point. So I think the 5th one was the first one, and I had seen the original, and I had seen I think Tokyo Drift.
Yeah,
but
the
I don't
original
really
it was just like a little city crime drama.
It was it was like a crime car racing movie where Paul Walker was trying to infiltrate these street gangs.
That's what it was. Yeah.
But no, the 5th one is they know what they're doing, and they're we know that what we're gonna do right now is literally the most ridiculous thing, and absolutely just not possible.
Right,
shooting down a helicopter with a car, using the car to shoot down the I think it was the 6th one. There was this scene where they needed to steal this super fancy car that was there's only 5 of them made, and it's got this special thing in its software that they can use. Where does the guy? It's in some sultan in Dubai or whatever.
Of course.
Where does he keep it? Oh, he keeps it on the 85th floor of his high-rise tower or whatever. And then fucking Vin Diesel and Paul Walker drive this car out of the fucking skyscraper. and like drive through the window, crash out of the building on like the 90th floor or whatever, and then crash into the next building next to it, and then drive into the building next to it, and then crash into a third one.
Okay.
Like, it's utterly ridiculous.
Well, there can't be action movies. For yeah, I can totally see that.
So here for how ridiculous it is.
Yeah.
Like guys jumping out of cars going 125 miles an hour, catching somebody in the air and then hitting the ground and not even getting hurt.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
it's incredible. It's incredible. I will watch that 100 times over some micro budget bad horror movie at this point, because I've just seen so many of them. And this isn't meant to deter filmmakers that are making things on a micro budget. God knows I've made things on micro budgets, but like, I just, for me at my age now, I've watched so many of those that I feel bad saying waste my time, but I don't want to spend my time necessarily digging through, essential crates of like old rips of films that are just like, oh, I heard this is really bad. I just don't.
Yeah.
When we're reviewing it for the show is one thing.
Right.
But like, on my own personal time, I just don't do that anymore, man.
Yeah, I have at my job, at my disposal, that Dome IMAX screen, which currently has Oppenheimer in the system that I could like just go in tonight and watch to quality check, or for instance, if I wanted to. I don't like Christopher Nolan's movies. I have no interest in watching it.
I haven't watched anything.
I did a quality check on it. The first 20 minutes seems very interesting, but I am not a fan of Christopher Nolan. I don't get excited for his stuff. Nothing. So you watch what you want to watch. I've been avoiding certain things. The Nova says to me, because we finally got a PlayStation that looks like a oyster, whatever number that is. And
5. That would be the 5th.
Okay, good. I got 4 games for it initially. Well, what are we talking? Last of Us 1 and 2, so that the kids can play that, and Spider-Man and Miles Morales, obviously. And Nova keeps saying to me, because I only played Last of Us Part 1, and I had PlayStation 3 years and years ago. She's like, you need to play this, and I'm like, listen, kid. I know what's in that game, and I don't have the emotional strength to play through that right now. And every day she's like, you got to play that game. I'm like, and listen to me, kid. My brain is a glass beer bottle thrown in a Metallica parking lot right now. So give me a little bit to get back. But I think I believe you told me that I had to play the Spider-Man games because they were I don't know if you said some of the best games ever made, but
they were excellent.
But holy shit, I have never been happier playing a game than that first Spider-Man game.
So much fun.
And this is gonna sound stupid, but I don't give a shit anymore. It makes me literally happy to play it, to swing. I'm having more fun with Miles than Peter.
They're both good, though.
They definitely are, but the characters are written so well. The storyline for Doc Ock in the first movie is the only time I've felt a Spider-Man villain was tragically depicted on the screen. It took the whole game to build him up, and it was so good. And that guy was a great Doc Ock, but that game, like, people would be like, hey, Spider-Man, thanks for helping me out. Thanks for getting my cat. And I'm like, you're welcome. And I talk to the game because I'm trying to stay positive, because it's easy to go really negative and dark. And with the stuff I was talking to you about, we'll save for later.
Yep.
It's important for me right now, to remove myself from toxic people completely.
Yep.
Remove myself
Which is why this is the last episode.
Right. Right. Because I can't be near myself. But I resisted Always Sunny in Philadelphia for years and years and years. And then I was convinced to give it a shot because the characters may be assholes, but they do pay a price. They do look like idiots. They do. Stuff happens. And so in that show and some other things, Arrested Development, whatever, you see other people's behaviors reflected in those characters, but you know who those characters are because you know. So like there've been some realizations. What was my point? This is part of the problem. When I come off my medication for testing, I don't know. So there's everything, I guess. I forget a lot of stuff. So I'll make this quick. In a week and a half, I think I'm going in to be tested for ADHD. That's going to go on top of my CPTSD, right? In my head, I have FNSM, which is Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. But so like, there's still something wrong with me. And in helping my daughter Nova research what she thought was wrong with her, we were looking up ADHD, and I'm like, oh shit.
Right.
Beep, beep, boop, 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 boop. Hey, I need to see somebody.
You guys got to get me somebody to talk to.
Yeah. Here's the sad part of the whole thing is when I was little, I was diagnosed with it. I was in the early groups of kids that were diagnosed with it. And I cannot tell you how true this is because now a lot of things in my past I'm calling into question. But I was told that my parents refused Ritalin for me. And now that's what I'm going for because I've been on bupropion, which is basically Wellbutrin, which is what I'm coming off of.
Right.
And that's given me the side effects that suck. Especially the memory thing. That's probably what is bugging me the most. I'm sure you noticed before you went in the hospital, I was having moments where I lose track of what I'm saying, and I need to fix that. So, yeah, my brain, what was that? My brain's a mess.
Brain's a mess. You're going to get tested to get it right. That's
right. And one of the things you have to do to be healthy and stable is regardless of who the person is, if they are a toxic influence on your life, you got to get rid of them. People can change, and I am open to people changing, but I've already blocked the people that and deleted numbers of people.
Well, and the thing too is when you find, I can actually tie my whole situation into this too, obviously different, but I had a really bad falling out with one of my really good friends a couple years back, and basically it was kind of one of those, like, I'm like, where the fuck did this come from? Like, what are you talking about? Like, this is not what, who are you? What is this? And like, our friendship ended in a very like nasty sort of way, and like, he kind of accused me of this different things. And you've known me longer than just about anybody. Like, I'm not like a sketchy person. Like, I don't like,
I've never had any indication of that.
Yeah, and I don't like do underhanded things. And he was basically just being like, "Oh, well, you didn't do this, and you come looking for this, and I know what you're really."
Oh, so it's projection, and
exactly,
or paranoia, low self-esteem. All of it works together, and
100%. So during my sickness, I have a group of friends, and that person is still in this group of friends that we chat on sometimes, but we don't interact at all.
Okay.
And I was just basically like, hey, listen, I was supposed to go to wrestling this weekend in Toronto. I'm not going to be there. I'm real sick. I'm in the hospital, but I'm going to try to watch just whatever, And this person who I hadn't spoken to in the better part of the last 2.5, 3 years or whatever, reached out to me on the side and was like, hey man, are you okay? Like, what's going on? And I was just kind of like, no, I mean, I'm going to be okay. This is what, and he was like, oh man, he's like, I've been thinking about you. We got to get together and we got to talk because I got some stuff I got to say. And I was like, okay. And this guy, who shall remain nameless, came, visited me at the hospital.
Okay.
And was basically like, hey, I owe you an apology.
Oh, shit. I thought that was going to go different.
So did I, actually, at the time. And I was fully prepared to be like, all right, I'll take ownership on some of this stuff. Like,
okay.
even if I don't feel like I necessarily have to, there's always two sides to everything. And no matter what, there's like very rarely a situation where you handle it 100% the best way that it should be handled. Like, everybody says stuff that they don't really mean. Everybody does things that they shouldn't do.
When emotions are involved, it gets all fucked up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this dude was like, hey, you don't need to say anything. The way I treated you and the way our friendship ended, I was wrong. I was going through some shit. And, I had a bad breakup. I was drinking too much. I had this other situation going on, doing all these things. And I projected my problems onto you.
Okay.
And I've never had a person that like bared their soul to me like this. And I'm like 4 milligrams deep on Dilaudid. And I'm like, dude, you fucking calm down, man. It's fine, bro.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you don't understand. But like, going back to what you're saying about like cutting toxic people out of your life, that was a situation where like, well, I ain't gonna fuck with this guy anymore. I don't need to.
Right.
And but then like people change. People
be
make
open to that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one thing to cut somebody out. It's another thing when that person, and this I think is probably the rarer case, legitimately realizes what they've done and realizes that what they did was wrong and they need to right it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think that's the norm, and big props to my friend for doing that, because I never would have expected it.
They got help, it sounds like, and that's great.
It took me almost dying to to clear that air, but like it worked. I mean, but that's sometimes, and he said that too, and he's like, I don't know if we would have had this conversation if you didn't get sick, and he's like, and that really fucking sucks because this needed to happen.
But you know what? In a way, that helped him be a better person, and then going forward, he's not going to wait. Hopefully.
For sure. Right. Exactly.
I'm just looking for silver
our
linings.
friendship, and our friendship would never be, I'm never going to be able to forget that happened.
Right.
But like at the same time, I understand, and like, our friendship will probably never be the same, but like we can be friends again.
Yeah.
And it's not like fucking weird.
But you're going to protect yourself a little bit more.
Obviously. Obviously.
Because you have to. People, when people come back, if the people that I've cut out, want to have legitimate talks and respect me as a human being with my own autonomy, then I am open to that. But when I'm not treated like an individual person and people talk to my wife instead of me about me,
right?
I don't need that. I don't.
Well,
need,
and also, and I apologize if this is intrusive or saying something, and if I'm out of place, I can take it out afterwards. I gladly will. But I've known you for over 20 years now. Yeah. And these situations for you are circular. You know what I mean? Like, I've had this conversation with you a dozen times.
Yep. I've always wanted
I need to cut this person out. I need to get away from this person.
Yeah.
And there's always like that situation where they either like apologize or whatever, but it never changes.
Right. Right. Because I would keep going back. I would take them at their word, and what they would do is use me to mine information to keep control. Right. Whether it was through children or
a sense
money.
Of responsibility, you think, too, for you? Because of, I'm not going to say who these people are, but like, do you feel a sense of responsibility?
For them?
Maybe.
No.
Okay.
Not at this point.
Not at this point, though.
Okay, so here's the thing. Nobody supports me, so nobody's going to hear this. I'm talking about my parents. Now you can ask me whatever question you want.
No, I'm not going to do that. You can say whatever you want to say.
No, like in your question, if you could just, now that that's out, you could rephrase. I can answer it better.
So through the years, obviously you've had situations that have come and gone, and it's always been a thing. And there's always like an apology or like, I'm moving forward. But do you think the reason why you continue to go back is because it's family and you have a sense of, I don't know, I use the word, respect a lot, like you said, but like a responsibility, but like, do you think that's why? Because if it was somebody else, it was just like some fucking random guy that you were friends with.
Oh, you mean like the redhead that slept with 15 other guys while she was sleeping with me? Yeah, no, I can write people off and never talk to them again.
Right.
Absolutely. The thing is that I would always go back because I was encouraged to be the better person, or just drop it. You're being too dramatic. You blow things out of proportion, and it's always my fault. we invited my parents to go to a restaurant for Thanksgiving for a number of reasons. The number one being that my mother-in-law's boyfriend had died, and she was very depressed. She can't walk very well, and she is extraordinarily jealous and gets depressed when she sees how my kids interact with my parents because she can't do the same things. So we were going to take her to a restaurant because there's no cleanup. That's it. You just Thanksgiving meal, done. We invited my parents. She did that, that gasping, clutching the pearls kind of thing. She kind of went, I would never do that. And we're like, okay, why? You don't do that. Thanksgiving's about family. Yeah, we're a family. We'll still be together, but at the Century House. No, I would never do that. And she literally threw her arms up in the air, turned around and walked in the house. So, to follow that up, we went to the Century House with my mother-in-law. The food was bland as it always is, but it's more of an old people restaurant, so that's fine.
So I could probably eat there now then.
Yeah. Yeah. So we did that. I was guilted with the family excuse from other people that fawn over the other people. And so our tradition since we moved back from New Hampshire, so it was like 1999, 2000, something like that, was the weekend after Christmas, we would go up to, there was a place on 95 past Rowley that sold cheap Christmas trees that had the reindeer. And then their trees started looking like crap about 10 years ago. So we started going to Wolf Hollow there on Old Route 1. And my parents would buy the tree for my brother in his house and me and my house. And because my mother was still mad and not speaking to me and being petty, she didn't tell us they weren't going to pay for the trees that year, which, fine. I don't give a shit if you want to or not.
Right.
You don't leave us both standing at the fucking register waiting for you when that's what we've done for 10 fucking years.
Right.
And it's just these petty little jabs and bullshit that over the years I've come to the conclusion that they don't give a shit about me. I'm not sure if, and I told you this is everybody has conspiracy theories. Here's mine. My father didn't want kids, or I kept him out of the Vietnam draft by being born. Because the interesting thing is my parents' wedding got moved up 6 months. Anyway, the last thing was, please stop giving our children gifts all the time. I know that sounds like I'm an asshole, but like the first day of spring doesn't deserve a fucking gift bag. If you want to be in my kids' life, be in their lives. Don't bomb them with junk that we're going to throw out. So I said, don't do that. My wife said, please don't do that. We don't celebrate Easter. My mother said, well, I'll give it to him for the first day of spring. And we're like, no. Do you not understand what no is? She doesn't. She's a narcissist and was never told no. So we go out. We have a nice time going to a concert in Boston. They made it weird. And then when we get home, they try to give the kids these 2 bags of things. And I kept my calm thanks to medicine I was on at the time. And I basically said, hey, we both said no. The children's parents said, please don't. We end up throwing this stuff out because there's too much. And you know me, I collected because I thought things equaled love when I was little. So
right.
Those two tie together really well, don't they? So since that day, my mother has not talked to me, and the last text message I got from my father was in October of 2022. And I sent him a funny picture, a funny Star Trek picture in that same conversation, and I was left unread for, what are we at, 7-9 months now? My father doesn't really talk to me. at all. Everything I like is childish and stupid. So I've just thrown it back at him. He asked me, hey, Babylon 5 is on whatever fucking thing. Have you been watching that? I'm like, yeah, I never liked it. And then I just started talking to somebody else. Because you know what? Fuck you. You're 70 what years old? Now you want to have a relationship with somebody that's 51 fucking years old that's been around the whole time and likes all the same shit you do, yet you ignored me? Fuck off. So that's been what I've been up to since you've been in the hospital. I've been having panic attacks.
I said when we were talking earlier, man, like I'm sorry, because usually you and I are able to kind of like talk about that stuff, and I'm sure, you know, having somebody to listen to that's like got nothing to do with it is. Oh, I mean, I know for me that's always therapeutic if I can just unload. Like, and I do that to you a lot too. Yeah, I'll just unload on stuff, and it's always good to have that ear. And I'm sorry that I haven't been that ear for you to talk to about it.
No, this has been. I don't honestly, and this is not a slight against you, I can't even help myself. I don't know what other people could have done to help. I mean, I had Ellen there when I was in the backyard when I realized how old I was. That sounds stupid. But when I realized what I've put up with for this much of my life and why I don't do things that I would like to do, for instance, like clothes, like I always just, jeans and a t-shirt. That's it, because I don't have to think about it. They're all dark colors. I'll blend into the background. And I've been feeling better, and I've been trying different clothes. So like I have a pair of mustard colored pants. Right?
I love it.
Why not?
I'm not laughing. I'm laughing just because like mustard colored pants was the first the first one that came out.
Yeah. I bought a pair of shorts at Target that are turquoise with pink Homer Simpson donuts on them.
Oh man, I got a pair of those. Those are sick.
Yeah, they're really comfortable. So I'm trying other clothes too, and I've never said this outside of the house at all. So I may ask you to cut this out. But since I was little, I've been very jealous of clothes. Okay, not types of. Like, oh, that's whatever. I don't know clothing, but that's Old Navy. That's Levi's. I don't know clothing brands.
Wrangler. Yeah, wearing Wrangler jeans.
Something that used to aggravate me when I was little was like how stiff and like thick the material was for shorts. Right, cargo shorts. Like I might as well just wear the whole fucking pants if I'm wearing the shorts.
Right. Yeah.
This is tough. Considering what I just talked about, this is difficult for me. I don't know why. So, I'm going to ask you a question because this is...
Okay.
What item of clothing would you try out if nothing mattered about who the clothes were made for?
What type of...
What looks comfortable? In like heat and humidity?
Oh, that's a great question. Oh, I don't know, man. Maybe those like one piece like linen jumpers that you see some guys wear? They're super lightweight.
Yeah.
Like usually see people wearing them like Miami or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe something like that.
Okay, I always wanted to try skirts. They look super fucking comfy.
That's what the Scottish got it right, man.
Yeah. So, hold on a second. So I have this.
Hey.
Right?
Looks like Beetlejuice.
Exactly. So, you're the first person outside of my family that knows that. Because we haven't put the show out yet. But right. I have a couple, I wear them around the house. They're super comfortable. And I don't give a shit what people think anymore.
Well, you shouldn't.
Because aside from this not having pockets, it is breezy. My legs aren't constricted. Like, it's just an elastic waist. And I'm totally covered, and I feel like I'm not. It's the weirdest feeling. It's actually nice.
Hey. More power to you, man. All I care about, especially with clothes or what, and around the house, as long as you're comfortable, who fucking cares?
My wife's only question was, we still down to fuck, right? I said, absolutely. I said,
like,
yeah.
More so now because I can get it out quicker.
I told you to take the microphone out of my house because I did say that. It's even quicker now.
Dude, we've been friends for 20-something years, man.
Oh, by the way, we drove up. We were going, we went to the Audubon on the Ipswich River there, and we did the hiking of the trail because I'm not a huge fat ass anymore. I'm just huge and a little bit fat. I'm getting there. I've lost a bunch of weight. But I'm not overshadowing yours because yours was weird.
Mine also, like, I managed to lose 30 pounds in like a week or whatever.
Yeah, that's
so not healthy.
It's a weird way to lose weight. So afterward, Eleanor said, I would stop in that Tractor Supply store because she likes looking around at all the different stuff.
The one across the street from the Chinese food restaurant?
I think so. It's that big newer building that's been there
Chinese
for like
food
10
restaurant
years.
that we always go to with my parents right across the street.
So we drove
Dragon is what it was
called. Yeah. We drove past it. But we needed drinks and stuff after the walk because we had drank all the water. And I'm like, why don't you just drive up to that plaza up there? Let's take a look and see how the old Blockbuster Plaza. And I'm like, I used to work here. That's where I met Bill. And the kids are like, can I get my drink now? Fuck.
I don't care, Dad.
Yeah. So we, because Nova wanted some Dunkin' thing, we just went down and across the street. And I tried a pineapple culotta, which was kind of nice, but it wasn't pineapple-y enough. But it was still all right. So definitely this panic attack, like ego death kind of thing. Like I'm starting to see things different. I'm arguing with people in different ways now. And then I'll stop because I know this is going on for a while.
Yeah, I'm actually running out of steam. I'm not gonna lie, I'm starting to run out of steam.
That's fair. This is the last thing I got here. So I've been going into local news stuff and just seeing how shitty people are. And this was about the homeless community in Boston. And Stefano Zamiti wrote, I think they need to open that island again and put them on the island in Quincy. No punctuation. So I wrote, or hear me out. These are people that need help, not an invasive species. And he replied with, lol, right. Fucking people are disgusting. Like, I think what happened when I had this panic attack and I realized, holy shit, I don't have much time left to do stuff, is I started caring about people a little more. It's like, why can't people just wake up and decide to be a nice person? Why do they have to wake up and be fucking Ted Cruz and Ron DeSantis?
It's so difficult, man. I don't get it. I don't get it.
God damn it. Yeah.
Cool. All right. I'm going to add one more thing before we go.
I'm good.
Good. Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Because you know I love you and I'm here for you. So
I do, but I know what you got going on. So I'm also not gonna. There's more than enough.
I'm running out of steam.
There's more than enough childhood trauma to last for more episodes.
The one thing I will mention here, and this is of course a plug. So The Woodsman is now available to watch for free on YouTube on the Dark Matters channel. I would love if a bunch of you guys could go over there and watch it. Like it, comment, subscribe to the Dark Matters channel. It's exclusively available there. It's the only place you can watch it. And it's free because it's on YouTube. But if you could go over there and at least watch it and post a comment, if you could watch it, subscribe, like it, all that stuff. I'm a firm believer that every single one of our listeners, if you guys watched it, you'd really, really enjoy it. It's a great little horror short, Christmas themed. Kyle killed it with the script and as a director.
Yeah.
I was one of the DPs. I was a producer on it. It's under the OTC banner. So if you could go over there on YouTube, just search up The Woodsman and Dark Matters. It'll show up. There's also a great Q&A with Carl, who is a listener of OTC and has been a listener of OTC for many, many years.
Yep.
He does our letterboxed list too. He's going to be on the show at some point. We got to kind of get back to like doing our thing before I start throwing guests into the mix, right? But if you could go over there and just support it, watch it. It's only 12 minutes. If you like if you like the show, you'll love it. Plain and simple. So we'd love to hear what you guys think about it. Also want to give a quick plug to our good buddy Steve Scarlotta. Any of you guys that have Shudder, his brand new documentary Sharksploitation is now available to watch on Shudder. And again, same thing. If you listen to this show, that documentary is right up your alley.
Absolutely.
Steve, of course, has been a friend of the show for many years. He was in Survival of the Film Freaks. He's a good friend of mine. Watch that. Spread the word about it.
Yeah. It's more interesting than you think it's going to be.
And it's way more clinical than you think it's going to be, too, which I thought was really cool because I was afraid it was just going to be kind of like a clip show of like all these crazy shark things. A lot of really cool stuff going on in there.
Yeah.
So make sure you shout him out at Steve Scarlatta at Steven Scarlatta if you do watch it. So I'm going to play some music now to make us end it, and then I'm going to go take a nap because I'm supposed to coach baseball tonight. So back into it. Hey, join the Patreon, patreon.com/outsidethecinema. We will be getting back to getting the shows up there. The show will go up there obviously first, and then you get the shows later in the week. They go out in the public feed. We'll be doing hopefully some commentaries and some other things coming up. We got plans. Just got to get back to it. I've got a documentary that's coming out soon. I'll give you a little bit more information on that when I have some more stuff inked in. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I want to thank everyone for hanging with us, sticking with us, being off the air for a few weeks. I'm healthy. Chris is getting healthy.
Yeah.
We're going to be there, and OTC's not going anywhere.
Not yet.
Not yet. I mean, at some point it'll have to, but right now we're good to go.
So are we going to come back strong next week with the movies we had planned on doing?
Yes, episode 800 will be next week. We will have Scott back. We will have Joe back, and we are going to talk about the two most recent Evil Dead films. The reimagining from a few years ago, and then Evil Dead Rise from this past year.
Yeah. Now, have you watched
Rise? If you got anything you want to send us
yet?
on that, email us or whatever.
Have you watched Rise yet?
Yes. I think I may need to rewatch it again because I watched it the day before I got sick.
Yeah, I have to too.
So, anything else, Chris, before we go?
No, I'm good.
Hey, guys, thank you so much. Happy to be back. We will talk to you soon.